Nicolas Cage is probably one of our generation's definitive actors.
Hello and welcome to Cage Fighting. It's your main man Andy Gillard here. Hope you're all doing well on this Christmas week.
Hi everybody, Mad Guy here. The bitch is back. Hello.
You can say the bitch is back and then be a bit of camp Kenneth Williams in. Well, although Christmas is inherently camp, so I suppose you can do. Hello, everyone.
Christmas is incredibly camp, and this film is as open all hours as it gets.
This film is Feliz NaviDAD, a movie picked up because it's a Melissa Joan Hart joint, which is something I never thought I would ever say. Basically, the reason I picked this is over the last couple of years, I've somehow managed to watch almost all of the Melissa Joan Hart Lifetime Christmas movies. It started way back when with Holidays in Handcuffs, which was Mario Lopez and MJH. She handcuffed him and dragged him to her family for a Christmas getaway, and he had to pretend to be her boyfriend. And of course, they fell in love at the end of it because that's the thing that people do. And then came A Very Nutty Christmas, where Melissa falls in love with a nutcracker come to life. It is as fucking weird as it sounds. And then was Dear Christmas, where she hosts a hit podcast on love, but has never been able to find love herself.
Oh. That one's actually really good as well.
Really good is a stretch, but none of them are terrible, but they're all a bit shit at the same time.
Really good.
There is one I haven't seen. Have you seen Christmas Reservations? That's the only one I haven't seen yet.
No,
I've got to ask, straight off the bat, is this some kind of counterculture I don't know about? Is Melissa Joan Hart the god mother of these shit films? Does she direct them all or something?
Lifetime, it's like Lifetime and Hallmark Christmas films are like a kind of... I suppose it is a counterculture in a way, but it seems to be a staple of like holiday favourites. I don't think we've got an equivalent here, really, have we? Maybe the Sony Movies channel, maybe, or you know that Christmas 24/7 channel that starts in October. Probably that's probably the safest bet. I mean, some of these films have been on there because I've seen them when I subscribed the one year.
No,
but
sure, come on, pal.
If you don't
subscribe to it properly, then you get adverts, and that's annoying. So,
yeah, that's the annoying part of this fucking.
And as we see in this film, that there are obvious places where the adverts are inserted when it just dies.
Yeah, absolutely. But I know they've shown them on Channel 5 because I've seen a Nutty Christmas I watched on like the Channel 5 version of the iPlayer. That's how I spent my one Saturday afternoon. It was excellent. But yeah, so I chose Feliz NaviDAD for us to watch, primarily because it was Hart in the director's chair, reunited with a love interest from that first film, The Holidays in Handcuffs, so we're bringing back Mario Lopez. I was a big fan of Saved by the Bell growing up. Like, I think I've watched every episode from the very first ones with Good Morning Miss Bliss right up until the first season of the reboot last year. I haven't watched the second season, even though it was released last month. Stu, I'm guessing you probably would have watched Saved by the Bell as well.
Yeah. I never watched any of the reboot. Well, it's not a remake, is it? Because they're kind of in it. It was religiously every week without fail. It was I suppose we had VHS Video Plus if you were that posh, so you don't have to miss one. But it was appointment TV where you were. If you don't watch it at the time, then that was it. You had no choice. You missed out. So it was for us old ones. It was proper 90s at its best.
I'll tell you what it was, Matt. Before we had Virgin and Sky, there used to be a thing called cable television.
Cable television. Yeah. I used to have Telewest Blue Yonder and the like.
Yeah,
that was cable, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah. I think it was way back. We used to have the Children's Channel, or TCC. I don't know if you would go back quite that far.
I remember that.
And after 5 or 6 o'clock, it became Trouble, where it was shows for teenagers, but it was basically for 13-year-old teenagers rather than 17 to 19-year-olds. And that is where Saved by the Bell used to come in. So yeah, huge fan of that one. And also Clarissa Explains It All. So that is why I've got a lot of time for Melissa Joan Hart. I never quite got Sabrina trained though myself.
I never watched Clarissa Explains It All, but I remember Sabrina Teenage, which that was like that was appointment television for me. That was class. I loved it.
Well, when you go back and watch it now, you're looking at the aunts rather than her. And it's like it goes full circle. It never I say it never ages. It just gets better with age in a different way.
That's very true. So obviously I've already mentioned the star of the film, Mario Lopez, AC Slater. I think of all the Saved by the Bell cast, he's the one I've probably never heard a bad word said about him. Like, either he's a really good dude, or one day someone's going to find all of the skeletons in the closet and he's going to be a monster. I wonder which one it's going to be.
No, he's got a good face about him. He can't. If he's a bad one, then there's no hope for anyone, is there?
Yeah, that is very true. So IMDb describes Feliz NaviDAD as single father David is matched with out-of-town musician Sophie on a dating app. Since she's only in town for the holidays, they agree to practice date. But will they fall in love for real? The link that I sent you two gents yesterday, the YouTube link, did you watch it by any chance?
I watched it in the same way that I watched this, with kind of one eye on anything else.
So it was the trailer for the film, but for some reason when they uploaded it to YouTube, they've left the clipping of the end of the show that it was on, and then go into the advert. And the end of the show is talking about like a horrific murder. Then you've got Feliz NaviDAD trailer, then it comes back with murder talk. It's really fucking bizarre, and it proper tickles me. I feel like I need to put that in there for when we play the trailer now.
18-year-old Kari Sanford was arrested and booked into the Dane County Jail in connection to the double homicide of Dr. Beth Potter and Robin Kari.
Is it possible to have too much Christmas spirit?
November 21st.
You got a match?
This dad is single and ready to mingle.
You look like the type of principal I wish I had.
Qualified?
Will he swipe right on Christmas love?
The line between dorky and hilarious is tricky.
Mario Lopez, Anna Lynn McCord, and Paulina Chavez.
They're amazing. The food or the company?
Feliz NaviDAD.
They were in their 80s. They were found shot to death during a January 5th break-in at their home in Kentwood, a crime that terrified neighbors.
The film begins with a voiceover from AC Slater. He's no longer saved by the bell. He's actually the headmaster of Bayside High School. He introduces us to his sister Marisa, his daughter Noelle, and we see some random white people with zero explanation, and then find out that his wife passed away. Noelle is part of the school's bell ringing and a cappella band extracurricular class, which is run by the school's PE teacher. They're practicing for Friday's regionals. That's a Glee joke, which probably only I will get, to be perfectly honest. Slater and Noelle are back at home baking. We find out that Slater spends every Christmas working a second job as a delivery driver in order to save to send Noelle to college. Like, he is a principal. We've established this. That dude will be coining it. Yeah. There is no way he needs to be sending or delivering packages to get a bit of extra dollars. Makes no sense.
Well, yet,
yeah. We get a montage of Slater delivering some gifts. He delivers to a creepy dude. He puts one box on the doorstep and then fucks off without ringing the bell. And this other woman walks out to collect her parcel wearing a sweater with what looked like a decapitated reindeer head on. This huge 3D thing sticking out of her chest. Honestly, I fully expect Stu to own something similar.
Not quite.
That would make a change.
I've never come across such an item now, so it's never. If it was crossed my path, then the decision would have to be made, wouldn't it?
Stu, what's the most gaudy Christmas jumper you do own? What does it look like?
It depends how you class gaudy. I mean, this is probably the worst. This is really Visual medium, obviously.
I think, well, for the listening audience, you've got quite a tasteful Christmas jumper on, I think, there.
It's quite simple, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a sensible one. I mean, I've got 2 Star Wars ones, 2 PlayStation ones, a Wolves one. Probably the blue PlayStation one's a bit out there, but
see, I was really disappointed. I was meant to work Christmas Day last year, so I bought a bright blue Mr. Plow Simpsons one. And then I was pinged on Christmas Day, so I never got the chance to wear it. So Mr. Plow is getting a second run out this year.
Superb. Stu's like looking completely blank faced, but yeah, Mr. Plow is like prime Simpsons as well.
Yeah,
that is right in the middle of the Simpsons sweet spot of episodes. Perfect.
Are you talking like a kind of Mr. Mackey kind of character?
No, that Homer was Mr. Plow. And he was ploughing the road. We need to do a spin-off series of like Stu and the Simpsons, I think, where we just get Stu to watch all of the
classic episodes. Yeah,
I
think so.
Just anything from maybe season 3 to 7, I think, is the sweet spot.
Have you seen that TikTok guy that is train spotting and everyone loves him and he's like this cult hero?
Yeah,
but basically he has the camera like GoPro facing his face. I want to do that, Stu, with The Simpsons.
And see if I smile once.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, excellent. The other thing then that we're going to need, Stu, is we're going to need like some modelling footage of you in all your different Christmas ganses. Just walking down the catwalk, turn around, walk back, and then we can put that out on Twitter so everyone can see your Christmas jumpers.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
We can make that happen.
We then go into the house of the random white couple from the voiceover. The first time I watched it, I did ask, who the fuck are these cunts? Like, there was just some weird inane chatter between the pair of them, and then this really weird laugh from the old fella. It was a bit bizarre. And then Slater knocks on the door. We get a bit of flirty banter between Slater and this guy's daughter. It was actually a little bit sweet, I've got to be honest. It did make me smile when I saw it.
I've got to say, there is no way working for a company like that you get a fitted uniform like he's wearing.
Oh, no, and especially because he's a temp, so he's just going to get whatever he's left over, isn't he?
Mm.
As Slater walks away from the woman, Sophie her name is, she checks him out and her dad comes over and says, he seems nice. Don't worry, I didn't hear anything you two said. It was really odd. And by it, I mean he was really odd in this scene. He was a proper creeper. I felt really uncomfortable whenever he was on screen.
He's like a cuckold for his daughter. It's proper...
Yeah, he's definitely got a borehole in the wall that he's wanked off over at. Definitely.
Yeah, we're getting the Gus Van Sant Psycho remake at some point with them, yeah. When Slater gets home, he tells his sister and daughter about the flirty banter, which seems a really odd thing to bring up apropos of nothing to his family members. We get this really forced conversation between Slater and Marissa where we find out that Slater only takes his second job because his deceased wife loved Christmas and it's too hard for him. Noelle overhears this and she's unhappy at the revelation, so she leaves the household. The kids from the bell-ringing a cappella extracurricular band are delivering leaflets inviting people to their sectionals performance, and they run into a rival group who start singing a cappella song totally out of the blue. Like, as a huge fan of Glee, I loved it, but as a fan of good filmmaking, I still kind of loved it, I've got to be honest.
But not if you're a fan of lip syncing.
Oh no, the lip syncing was abysmal, wasn't it? And the thing is that obviously we'll come on to it later when the other group starts singing, but their singing voices don't match their like normal human talking voices either. No. It was a bit all over the place, wasn't it?
At least with Glee, which Matt is a disgrace that you haven't seen Glee. At least with that, they can all sing properly. And it is actually, even the ones who can't sing, it is them who are doing it.
I've never seen Glee. I've no intention of seeing Glee. I know I sound like a proper miserable prick, but all this kind of stuff is just my idea of hell. Hell, I say. So you won't catch me watching it anytime soon.
I've still not got further than when he killed himself. It was hard. The episode after that, the quarterback, it was hard to get into it again. And so I've got a whole season left untouched because I was too emotional because he was dead. And
it was quite rough to watch. Is it the quarterback? I think was the episode. Yeah, it was tough. That was
the last one I ever watched. So I've still got a whole season left, which it's kind of like a blessing there because I know that I've still got some glee in me. Oh, fucking hell. Well, we know where that's going, don't we, Sam?
Lovely. Thank you very much, Stu. We then get a scene between Slater and Noel in an ice cream parlour where they talk through their problems, and Slater agrees to be more involved in Christmas. Noel says that it's not easy and that you need to put yourself out there more. And she forces him to put him out there to try and meet women, which again seems a little bit of an overstep from his daughter. So we've hit about 20 minutes at this point then. So how are we feeling about this, fellas? Stu?
I was feeling glorious. I mean, bear in mind, I watched this last year anyway, off my own back, with any context. I just looked down the IMDb list of Christmas films out for the month and acquired some of them. And this was one on that because he was in it, mainly. I didn't know about Melissa Joan Hart directed it at the time. So I put it on, and it was one of them where I watched it in the daytime, so I didn't have my usual Christmas recipe of cinnamon whiskey and sausage rolls. So it was just Coke and a bowl of peanuts at that point. But
Coca-Cola, that is, Stu, yeah?
Yeah. Well, that's yeah. Yeah, it's just fun. It's proper smile on your face nonsense, and that's exactly what I thought it would be. And at this point, that's what it was.
I'm guessing Matt's going to say something completely different to you now.
Yeah, look at his face.
Sort of. I mean, it's exactly what I thought it was going to be. Fucking shite. No, you know what? I hark back to our Tom Stade episode where he was talking about these kind of Hallmark films. Girl meets boy, girl comes from out of town, girl is like, that's exactly how he said it was. It was just, it's so pandering to like, it's just awful, isn't it? But oddly, it had a couple of tongue-in-cheek, camp, little winks that were quite nicely done. I'll put it that way. There were a couple of like, we know it's ridiculous nods that made it somewhat bearable.
I think that's fair. I agree with both of you wholeheartedly. Like, I did enjoy it, but it was shit at the same time. Like,
yeah, let's get it right. It is shit. There's no two ways about it. I mean, and her dad's acting is one of the worst things we've ever seen in a year and a bit doing this, without a shadow of a doubt. He could have been the sound guy because the actual actor didn't turn up.
I assumed he'd won a competition.
Yeah, very much so. We get a bit of a throwaway scene now with Slater delivering a parcel to a woman who is lending the school the bells for the bell ringing group, and she admits to not knowing what she's ordered because she likes to get drunk on wine and then order shit off the internet. She sounds like me during my uni days. I kind of dig that. Following their conversation, it appears that Noelle tried to set Slater up with her high school friend's mom, this highly strung extra from the Housewives of Maricopa County. Like mid-flirt, she actually says the line, "Ha ha ha, I'm just really fun. That's what both of my friends tell me." Needless to say, Slater tells Noelle not to set him up with the parents of his students, which is kind of like appropriate, I suppose. I don't know why though, but I'm hoping that next Christmas Melissa Joan Hart makes a film all about Heidi. I want to know about Heidi's dating adventures because she seemed fun. I liked her. Noelle and Marisa set up a Tinder or a Tinder adjacent account for Slater and then start swiping for him. He has no knowledge of this actually happening, it appears, which is a bit weird. They set up a date for him with someone off this app, Slater arrives at the date place, and Sophie, the lady from earlier on, turns up. Slater tells her that he can't talk because he's actually waiting for a date. So Sophie tells him, "Oh, I'm actually your date." So at no point did Slater think to look on the app to see who the person is he's agreed to go on a date with. And neither did she check with who she was talking to. Did they just immediately just set up a date on an app and then go to meet without either person talking to anyone? It seems like that's a bit of a plot hole. It's a bit odd.
But was it his phone that they set it up on there? That was what I was thinking. Because it was it his daughter and was it his sister who were talking about
Yeah.
it? So I'm thinking, what, because he comes in from outside when they're setting it up, so he'd have it wouldn't be his phone, would he?
No, it wouldn't be his phone. But surely Sophie would have spoken to whoever had that phone, and they would have either had to pretend to be Slater or explain to Sophie, "Oh, this is Slater's daughter. I'm trying to set him up." But she didn't know that he had kids, and she didn't know that he thought it was a blind date. So it was just like a huge plot hole that I didn't realise until the second time watching this film, which I feel a little bit ashamed about.
Oh, you had to watch it twice.
Oh, yeah, I did. Sophie tells Slater that she's only there for a practice date because she's leaving town soon. So basically, she's saying she's only there for the dick. It's like, fair enough if that's what she's there for, but I just thought it was a little bit of a strange thing to have not discussed beforehand. The whole premise of this part just didn't really add up for me. Sophie and Slater have a good date, and as she's leaving town soon, they agree to continue having these practice dates, quote unquote. Just call it fuck buddies and have done, baby. Get in there, do what you need to do. Slater brings Sophie into school to teach the bell ringing a cappella extracurricular band even, and gets rid of the PE teacher. This is because she's a classically trained musician, and they decide to do a mashup Christmas song. It is so Glee. It just doesn't make any sense at all now. They're proper swinging for the fences with the madness in here. Slater then goes on a few more dates, including one with Melissa Joan Hart. I did pop for that, to be honest. It was quite nice to see her pop up in there. But it does seem that he's only enjoying his dates with Sophie. Noelle runs into Sophie at the ice cream parlour. This ice cream parlour, everything in this fucking town seems to revolve around this ice cream parlour. It's like the place to go. It's like the local pub, but just with ice cream. Which, now I say out loud, that does sound kind of good, I've got to be honest.
It sounds like you two going to that place in Bentley Bridge all the time.
Dude, Tim Hortons.
Oh, yeah. Tim Hortons is amazing.
I was there. I went there this morning.
This is how you two talk about that.
Yeah, I went for lunch, to be honest, as well today. I've been to the cinema every day this week, so I've had coffee. It's great.
You're putting Mrs. Horton's babies through college at the minute.
Someone's got to. I've completely lost the place. Oh, yeah. Noelle tells Sophie that she thinks her dad really likes her. And then Slater confesses to his friend that he does like Sophie. They're getting a bit sappy on their dates now, bringing her around his family and being all sweet and hand-holding. His other dates are now going completely sideways because all he can think about is Sophie. So Slater goes to tell Sophie that he wants to stop the practice dates and try some real ones. But Sophie's headed to Phoenix next week. Oh no. He pressures her into a date right now and manages to wear her down, which seemed a little bit out of character.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Yeah.
This was.
Yeah, it was. And then we start to get the fake CGI snow falling in the middle of fucking summertime in wherever this was filmed. Before they manage to kiss, though, Slater realises that he forgot to pick up the white bell gloves from the dry cleaners. Dry cleaning gloves? Is that a thing? It just seems a bit weird.
Stu, you've got an experience with latex gloves and other forms of gloves. Is this a thing?
I'd actually imagine so, because it's like when you have to wash football shirts on 30 and inside out to protect them forever. So it doesn't surprise me whatsoever. And how kind of pissy she was getting about it, because when they get to the next scene, what they resort to, it does make some kind of sense that these special gloves you have to have them specially cleaned. So this wasn't as big a leap as it first seemed.
He runs off, leaving Sophie in the middle of the forest that they went to. I assume they drove together as well. Like, I don't think they went in separate cars. So he just fucked off and left her.
Yeah, I don't think it was a dog in sight.
And he doesn't even tell her why he's had to rush off. He just says it was a mistake and pisses off in his van. Slater doesn't get to the dry cleaners in time, so there are no gloves. And as we've already said, the miserable old bitch won't let them ring the bells without gloves because apparently it'll destroy the bells. Okay. When Sophie arrives at the band's performance, she walks up to Marissa, and whilst Marissa is in the middle of doing something else, she starts talking to Sophie about the tickets. Sophie responds, and then Marissa looks up and it's like, "Oh, hey, it's you, Sophie." And Sophie replies like she didn't know who she was talking to. But Marissa was reading something, so couldn't see. Sophie was fucking staring at her. Oh, brilliant.
Oh, dear.
Sophie has magically randomly turned up with gloves for the kids, so now they can perform at regionals. She didn't know they needed gloves. She just bought gloves apropos of nothing. It all ends happily ever after. We get a reprise of Noel singing Feliz NaviDAD once again on a guitar that was bought for Christmas that wasn't wrapped and was already tuned. The end. Oh, what a movie. Right, the budget and the box office. I mean, it was straight to TV, Lifetime movie, so it wasn't going to cost a lot. And it certainly wasn't going to make any money. So this section's a little bit pointless. So what I think we can do instead is I've got a quiz, which is, which Saved by the Bell character are you?
Oh, wow.
Yep, it is from, for the people who may want to play along at home, it is from brainfall.com. If you Google it, you'll be able to find it. Right, okay, so got them all set up. So, right, not everyone is smart in the same way. In which way are you the smartest? Are you A, common sense, B, academics, C, creativity, design, or D, all of the above, I swear? Matt, which one are you?
Common sense.
And Stu?
I'd probably say creative because I'd try and find kind of schemes and ways to do things.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. I've gone for academics. You walk into a room for a job interview and see there is no chair for yourself. What do? Do you stand? Do you ask for a chair? Ask if you should find a chair or just find a chair? Matt?
Find a chair. Find a chair, Andy.
You'll find a chair. And Stu, which one will you do?
Stand.
You'll stand. I would ask for the chair. Because I'm there. They can fucking do it for me. You've been given a choice of possessing one of the following superpowers. Which do you pick? The ability to stop time, the ability to fly, ability to read minds, ability to change forms. Matt?
Read minds.
Read minds. And Stu?
Yeah, probably read minds as well.
Cool. I would go for the ability to stop time because I assume that's what Zach Morris would do. If all of the following problems were to occur at once, which would you choose to handle first? The tap is running, the phone is ringing, the clothes are hanging outside and it's began to rain, or the doorbell is ringing. So which of those would you do first, Matt?
Doorbell.
Stu?
Clothes.
And I would go for the tap. That's the easiest one to do, I think. A close friend expresses romantic interest in you. How do you let him, her know you're not interested? Do you berate and belittle them? Let them off easy? Remind them about that ring on your finger? That's never happened before and it never will, sadly. Matt?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
I think that's a problem.
we don't have let them down gently on MSN. That's not an option, no.
No.
Ring on finger.
Ring on finger. Stu?
Yeah, but that's a true to life thing as well. I've done that in the past. So yeah.
Okay. I would let them down easily because I'm not an asshole. Cheating in school is a grave sin, not advisable, fine with me, an art form. Matt?
Art form.
Stu?
Fine.
And I think it's an art form as well. If you can get away with it, you should do it. In your group of friends, you are the jock, the geek, the fashionista, the responsible one. Matt?
I don't want to say the jock, but I organise everything. So that's the jock, I think.
Okay. Stu?
Well,
I mean, you are the geek, let's be honest, Stu.
Yeah, but in my circle of friends, I wasn't. Now I was probably more jock than anyone else because
just be Screech and be done with it, Stu.
now this is where it's probably going to head. So I'd like to say fashionista, but that's only in my own head. So I'm gonna out of my actual close circle of friends, I'd have to say jock because no one else likes sport like me. And Goldie didn't like sport till later on. So
fair enough. I've gone for the responsible one, which probably isn't true, but I'll say that anyway. The best catchphrase: EEP, double EP. Hey preppy, time out. Hey, 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 hey. What's going on here?
Hey, 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 hey. What's going on here?
Stu?
Time out because I have said that in the past.
Yeah, I'm going for time out as well on that one. You come across a group of kids smoking behind a convenience store. What do? Lecture them on the damage they're doing to the body. Pretend to ignore them, but think to yourself that they're stupid. Completely ignore them. Smile a little at their rebellion. Matt?
Rebellion.
Stu?
Yeah. Rebellion as well.
I'd just ignore them. If you could save only one thing from a fire, what would it be? Would it be your clothes, your books, your computer, or your cell phone?
Oh. Well, it'd have to be my cell phone. My phone is the most valuable item of all of them, I think.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Stu?
Yeah, I think if this is a question from the 90s, then it'd be computer, wouldn't it? But yeah, phone.
Yeah, in the modern day, your phone basically is your computer, isn't it? You can do everything you can do. So, yeah, okay. Right, okay. Let's calculate the answers. Right, okay. So, Matt, I'll come to you last, actually, Matt. Stu, you and I are both Zach Morris, so I'm happy with that. I'll take that all day. Matt,
well pleased.
Matt, you are Mr. Belding.
What? Mr. Belding?
I think that was the hey, 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 what's going on here catchphrase that really...
How can one question skew you so much?
Oh, that's incredible. I enjoyed that. I think had Stu have actually gone for fashionista, he would have got Lisa Turtle. But there we are. So anyway, back to Feliz NaviDAD. It was nominated for an award. It was for the Imagine Foundation Award. The Imagine Foundation is there to encourage positive portrayals of Latinos in all forms of media entertainment. Mario Lopez was up for Best Actor in a television comedy, losing out to Michael Cimino from Love, Victor. I don't know what that is, so, but well done, Michael, I guess. There's no critical scores on this one. There was one single positive review from a critic on Rotten Tomatoes. So I suppose technically it's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. There are plenty of fan results, though. So let me. So can you tell me what you think the scores will be on this one, Matt?
I think people, if you're going to review this, you're going to absolutely love it. I think so. I think it's going to be something like 75%. Positive or fresh or whatever you call it.
Stu?
Yeah, same kind of thinking behind it, because if you're gonna, unless you're doing it to torture yourself and you've got an obligation to watch this kind of thing, you're not gonna do it through choice, are you? So yeah, it's got to be pretty high. I'd say about 67, something like that. Late 60s.
IMDb was a 6.1 and Rotten Tomatoes was a 56. So it was kind of middling, which I can kind of see that, because I think you are going to get people who really enjoy it and other people who will just dismiss it immediately. So I can kind of agree with those scores, if I'm honest. So the critic was Brett White from Decider, and he said, "This movie delivers that holiday rom-com magic you ordered that includes the free gifts of actual pathos, plot surprises, and solid jokes." I don't know what the plot surprises are, if I'm being honest, but okay. The fan response over at Amazon.com has this film with a solid 4 stars out of 5.
Woo!
There's only one single 1-star review from Kristen, who said, "Stupid," and that was it. The majority of the 5-star reviews all just said it was cute or a sweet story, that sort of thing. There was one from Anne M. Lewis. "This Christmas movie went deeper than most. Tackled some complicated subjects of loss with grace. It never lost its spunk. The performances are above average. The movie has romance, music, family, and a Latin flair, which is so refreshing. If you want to watch a Christmas film with depth and culture, I recommend Feliz NaviDAD. The music and score is really well done, and the a cappella performances at the end are a great way to wrap up a film on a high note. A must watch."
Wow.
Yeah.
Talking about spunk, did you see that thing in the week?
That's a
about
great way to start a sentence.
There was someone, they've made a cup instead of like saving the world without plastic and everything. They've made a cup out of. I think for some reason I'm thinking squirrel, but it can't possibly be squirrel cum because there needs to be a lot of it. But it's an actual cup made of it.
I did see that story. Yeah. I didn't look any further than the headline. I just assumed they were using human spunk, not animal spunk. But yeah, that is a bit of a weird way to save the world, isn't it?
Well, proper nut job.
Hey, nicely done.
Yeah. So the good, the bad, and the crazy on this one. Matt, start us off.
The good, it had, like I said earlier, it had the occasional nod to how stupid it was throughout it. I don't think it takes itself seriously at all. And so for that reason, it's good that it exists, I suppose. As in, there's obviously an audience that really enjoy this. And listen, I'm not all a husk of a heart. It will give people joy, and that is a good thing. So fine. The bad, her dad's performance was so bad. I mean, we've seen some really awful performances from supporting cast members when we've been watching Cage films, but this goes as far as to be probably the worst. He was just, every single scene he was in was just atrocious because of his delivery of lines. It was just the worst thing I've ever seen. The crazy for me is that this genre exists in the first place. I just find it absolutely bizarre that people get off on this, but Christmas in general, the whole culture of Christmas is just, I get how infectious it is, and I get that it's great, and I get that people really enjoy it and everything, but this is one step too far. I'll tell you what this is, right? This is when you've got nowhere else to go, so you end up in a gay bar after the nightclub that you were originally going out to that's open until 6-7 in the morning. There's too much going on. You're not used to it, and it's too much bright light, and you're worried for your safety. That's what this film is.
Stu, what did you think?
You know what? The thought of being in a gay bar at Christmas, we've done this before. In Blackpool, remember that year when we played Blackpool on the Friday before Christmas away, and we I'm not sure if that was the bed breaking one. I don't remember. We can find that video and tweet it out later for reference. But yeah,
I like the idea that you don't explain the bed breaking one to anyone else. They just hear the headline. Brilliant.
Basically, we was in this classic Blackpool B&B, and I was on the top bunk beds, of course, in our 20s, and I was on the top bunk, and I could feel it going, and so they started, and then a couple of the slats fell down, and so I thought, well, if I stay still, I'll be okay until we figure this out. So then they started filming me, and inevitably the slats all fell through, and then I just collapsed. But to be fair, we left that room in a better state than when we got there because I fixed it all properly. So, but yeah. So anyway, we went out on the night onto Roxy's, which was like the number one drag bar in the country in Blackpool, and it was the best night I've ever had in my life. It was superb. It was because we walked over the road, and it was like the Friday before Christmas. So I don't think Mad Friday counts in America, but it should do. So we went, they've got Christmas lights in the window. So we all went in there. And then we realised there was no women in there at all, apart from female impersonators. And I thought, well, it's Christmas, it's Blackpool, why not? We're here now. And me and Goldie and Mark were all up on stage, we were singing and of our voices. Superb. Great night out. We had Christmas in a gay bar. You need to embrace it, Matthew.
Oh, listen, I've got no problem with gay bars. I remember going to Gorgeous before it became the Super Club. So for those not from Wolverhampton, Gorgeous is like the only nightclub that's open until like 6, 7 a.m. like every week, not just like for special occasions. But it used to be in this like proper small venue. You could pay £5 in, it was 5p a drink. And it was incredible because you just get absolutely loaded there, then go to the actual nightclub that you're planning to go to, Planet, Blast Off, whatever. But yeah, I got no problem with going to gay bars, but it's just, for some reason, when Gorgeous is like the size of like Gatecrasher or a massive Oceana. So it's complete. It's like it's an attack on all the senses. Basically, it's just so loud, Europop. I can't handle it.
Again, sounds like heaven. So my good was because I am part of this subculture, as he called it, who absolutely devours this nonsense every year. And I do think this year, but there's a few on. I mean, Netflix trying to get in on the game, but however fun that Netflix cinematic universe of Christmas is, it's not shit enough to be as in this kind of archipelago, I suppose you could say. It's so that these things exist in their own world, and you can see that Mario Lopez is having the absolute time of his life in this film.
Yeah,
he's loving every minute of it, and it comes across. And it's just a happy, fun film. And the fact that I was enamoured with her. I know you haven't mentioned who she looks like, but I don't know if it was the perm, the curly, the crimped hair, or the eyes. But I couldn't stop staring at her. I was obsessed.
You on about the Aldi Charlize Theron?
Yeah, she was amazing. Yeah, so that was two excellent things, not just good. I mean, the bad was obviously him because he was fucking. You'd get less wood in the Arnold Lavey yard in Sheffield than him. It's just atrocious. It's just shit. And as we mentioned earlier, the lip syncing every time there was a bit of a musical piece. It just how hard can it possibly be to do when you've got this part of a film like this where you expect a bit of musical interlude and then mess it up? It's just a joke, but. As Charlie Austin would say. But the crazy is these things will never end, and there's about 7 or 8 every year in a livery. And I've got a few lined up for the next few days, and I'm planning to get through at least 6 next week.
Incredible. I haven't watched. I don't think I've watched any of the most recent Lifetime ones. And to be fair, the only ones I ever watch are the Melissa Joan Hart ones, just because I've seen a few of them already, and I've just kind of like the ball just keeps rolling with them. But I've not really bothered otherwise with any of the others. The only other Christmas film that I've got in early doors was that Love Hard. It was Love Hard, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The one that Matt mentioned. And I ended up really, really enjoying that. It was an excellent film. It wasn't necessarily a Christmas film. It just happened to be set at Christmas again, I think was the thing to it. And that worked for me, I thought. So my good, bad, and crazy. My crazy, same as you, Stu, the a cappella group. Like, that was awful. Like, I was a fan of Glee, as we've established several times. So I'm able to suspend my disbelief at people just pulling out random performances of music without any practice or anything. They are world class immediately on their first go. But this was abysmal. This was really bad. As I said before, the voices don't match the actors. So it was quite blatant that it wasn't them actually singing. and you could hear like bass guitar and shit being played, but there was no one with a fucking guitar in sight. So it was weird. And to be honest, the whole bell ringing thing with the school, I don't really understand how any of that fit in, other than as a sort of tenuous nod to the song Feliz NaviDAD, and he was the Latino dad in the film. It all felt a little bit tenuous. My good was it was pretty wholesome. It was like mostly unoffensive. As far as Christmas TV movies go, it was perfectly okay. I thought Mario Lopez was good, and his patter with the other people in there, like he was very interesting to watch, and he did make me chuckle along a few times. I thought it was great. I thought his love interest was really sweet with him. I liked their relationship together. I think they worked well. And it was sappy and it was mushy as fuck, but it was a Lifetime Christmas movie. So if it wasn't those things, I would have been more concerned. So it very much was what I went in expecting to find. And I thought that was a good thing. He didn't like try and pull the rug out from underneath you. My bad though, I was blinded by the light. Like, and I mean that literally. This is the brightest fucking movie I've ever seen. Like, I'm a fan of the CSI franchises, like specifically Vegas and New York. I like they're a bit gritty and grimy, but I could never watch an episode of CSI Miami for that reason, that it was retinally scorchingly bright. You'd go from being in a dark, dingy place where someone's been murdered to on the beach, and it would just fucking sear my eyes. And this is what this film felt like at times. Everything was just constantly bright and summery. Like, I know whenever you see anything now that's a Christmas film, it's always filmed at least 6 months before, but they try to hide it. But this looked like it was, like they didn't even give a shit. It was the middle of summer and they were happy to let you know that it was the middle of summer. So that was my bad. I struggled with that. It was just too bright for my senses. So, Stu, did you enjoy the film?
Absolutely.
Fair. Matt, did you enjoy it?
No. I can't say it's the absolute worst film I've ever seen in my entire life, but it because films that I have looked forward to and then they've been terrible will fall into that category because I had some faint glimmer of hope. This film is exactly what I thought it was going to be. Shit.
Yeah, I mean, as I've said before, if the question was, is this a good film? The answer is no. But that's not the question. And I did enjoy it. It was a low-budget TV Christmas film. And I'm a sucker for any film that ends with a musical number. I just am. I'm fucking terrible for it. So it was what I expected, and it was enjoyable enough. I think if it pops up on Channel 5 and you've got nothing else to watch, you can do a lot worse than watch. Yeah, you can do a lot worse than watch this. I think there is a lot more crap out there. And don't get me wrong, I will never watch this film again. But for the 90 minutes I spent watching it, it was perfectly fine.
This is now on the it's on the 5-year rotational now though. So I watched it twice in 2 years, and now I can't do it again next year, so it can get to the back of the list.
Have you watched Trapped in Paradise yet?
I'm watching it tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay.
As of 3rd of December at the time of recording.
Okay,
so.
Right. So that'll be on the podcast before this one. Probably we'll be discussing that one. Right. So who would you recast as Nicolas Cage in this one, Matt?
God. It'd have to be the dad, wouldn't it? I suppose,
Yeah.
But actually, like, make him decent, make him not this weird Cilla Black trying to hook his daughter up with the postman.
Yeah, I agree. It would have to be the dad because he was the worst actor in it, and I want Cage to be like the batshit mental Cage that we get from your Face Off, where it's really loud and aggressive and over the top. That's what I want. I want the Castor Pollux version of Nick Cage as the dad in this film.
Yeah, imagine him being like a mental toy collector and going crazy because she's selling all his stuff. It'd be superb.
That'd be a whole other film, and I would fucking love it. Yeah, brilliant. So, finish the sentence. If you enjoyed Feliz NaviDAD, you may also like. Stu?
The 9 Lives of Christmas.
I don't even know this one.
I mentioned this last year, I'm sure I did, because it stars Brendan Routh. And it's amazing, he got a 7.2 on IMDb.
Is this a Netflix special or?
No, it's a Hallmark.
Right, okay.
So, the synopsis. After a stray cat adopts Zachary, yes, he meets Marley and realises the single life is not as fulfilling as he thought it was.
Incredible.
Just look at it.
Hang on, what was it called? The 9 Lives of what?
The 9 Lives of Christmas.
Because there's one 9 Lives of Holidays. 2021.
That's a sequel. Oh,
The 9 Kittens of Christmas. What? When I click on it, it changes the name. We've got the 9 Lives of Christmas 2014. And then there's another one, 9 Lives of Holidays 2021 with Brandon Routh and Kimberly Sustad. But when you click in it, it changes the name to the 9 Kittens of Christmas.
Maybe this is Avengers Assemble kind of thing again.
Yeah, so I think you've got a sequel you can watch there, Stu.
I'm so excited now. This is, the 9 Kittens of Christmas. 20... Oh, wow.
Oh, my God.
What a world. What a world.
This is live reaction. Oh,
fantastic.
This is actually made my year. So this the first one that's going to 9 Kittens of Christmas has got 7.2 as well.
There you go. That's your Christmas treat. That'll be one of the 6 you'll be watching next week. I'm sure.
I have to find room for more now.
Matt, if you enjoyed Feliz NaviDAD, you may also like
Klaus on Netflix, only because if you want an actual film with heart, an actual film with some depth and something that's more than just the tale of some sappy Christmas nonsense, then Klaus is the movie for you. Take a box of Kleenex and not for the reasons Stu might.
I'm going to go with a film that I mentioned earlier, the one where we reunited Mario Lopez and Melissa Joan Hart, and recommend Holidays in Handcuffs. It's really fun, silly bollocks. Similar to this, like the good is good enough to ignore the bad, and the bad is silly enough to rip into and enjoy yourself. It's one of those kind of films. So Holidays in Handcuffs for me. So that's another movie we've got in the record books. And as it's Christmas, why not get in contact? At Cage Fighting Pod on the Twitter, or any emails to cagefightingpod@gmail.com. Please make sure you're subscribed on whatever podcatcher you're using so as not to miss a single episode in the coming year. We're going to have a short break over Christmas and be back early in 2022 with our top 5 films of 2021. That's a bit of a mouthful. So for this year, Matthew, would you like to say goodbye?
Goodbye, everybody. I hope you've had a wonderful 2021, and I hope that 2022 treats you splendidly. Stay safe out there.
Stu, would you like to say goodbye?
Merry Christmas, everybody.
It's goodbye from me. Have a wonderful Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Happy Hogmanay. If you don't celebrate this season, just have a happy day and be excellent to each other.
It's kind of like a blessing there, because I know that I've still got some glee in me.